If you have a teardrop shaped stone, this tutorial is just for you. We are going to make a wire wrapping pendant with this stone. We need 4 strands of 20 gauge wire, and each is about 30 centimeters length, and a thinner wire of about 28 gauge for the weaving parts. Round nose pliers, chain nose pliers, and wire cutter also is needed. The key point here is that the wires should be all straight. You could do that with a nylon mallet to get better result. Put all these 4 beside each other and throw the thinner wire into one of them, and somewhere at the midpoint, 15 centimeters, make a tie, and I leave the other 3 to do that better. Just notice how I wrap the thinner wire all around that 20 gauge wire. And after wrapping wire 3 times, I'm going to add the second wire strand, and I try to keep the space of that thinner wire that I have wrapped once, and with that space in between, have a nice wrapping part all around both wires. And I'm doing that twice, and then add the third wire strand, and then I'm going to check out that all are in the same place, and I'm doing that at the midpoint of all these wires. Just pay attention that I'm wrapping the thinner wire all straight. All perpendicular upward and all perpendicular downward. And if needed, squeeze it a bit with your nail. And at the last wire strand, and do the same for all these 4 wires. Just not too tight and not too loose. And this is the important tip that exists in a wire wrapping art, and you will find it by practicing, and there is no other ways. Now I have wrapped thinner wire all around every pair of those wire strands 2 times, and I'm going to do that another time vice versa. I'm going to make something like this, a triangle, and I repeat the same pattern vice versa, of course, 2 2 2 on each both wire strands, and I'm going to repeat the same another time. I'm going to make 2 of those triangles just like this, and pick up chain nose pliers, put it somewhere at the middle of these 2 triangles, just a little further than the midpoint. But before, let me cut off the wires at the very end with wire cutter. And of course, everywhere that there is a sharp end, we should squeeze it with chain nose pliers. So I do the same for both parts at the start and ending point, and squeeze them so that there wouldn't be any sharp edges left. And let me squeeze all these parts a little. And let's to check out these wires not to be onto each other and all straight and beside each other. And now here I'm going to put chain nose pliers somewhere a bit further than the midpoint between those 2 triangles we made, and make a 90-degree bend like this, and stone is going to be put here. You could put your teardrop shaped stone, just like this or upward, and to have a very little space in between. Before deciding, just let's make these wire strands straight with chain nose pliers in the part that is flat. Okay, I think this is the better way to put this stone just upside down. And what do you think? Do you prefer to do the same? And now I'm going to wrap all those wire strands onto the stone, and where both sides meet each other, I'm going to make a bend, just like this. And you could do that even better with chain nose pliers and to make a sharp angle here. Let's put a stone in and test it, and that's okay. It's not too loose, too tight. And here I'm going to make another triangle weaving part. Just the same, put the thinner wire, insert it in, and wrap it all around the first wire strand and make a tie. So let me make it all firm with the other tail, and here I'm going to wrap the thinner wire all straight upward and all straight downward. We are wrapping this thinner wire 2 times on the first wire strand, 2 times on first and second wire strand, and so on. And we go back to have that triangle here. And we are going to repeat the same shape on the other side, but it should be upside down. I mean, these two parts should be mirrored. And now let me put this stone in between. It's all fits, and this is the step we are going to weave the thinner wire all around this angled part. So I make the first tie and repeat it to make a wire coiling part here. So just pay attention to the way I'm wrapping the wire and squeezing it to have a neat and beautiful wire wrapping part. Once we've fixed that part, I'm going to make 2 bends with round nose pliers on one of those strands that are nearer to me, this part, and this is of course the place that is just the back side of our wire wrapping pendant. I'm going to push it and it will be fall down at the above, so I'm going to repeat the same for that part too and make 2 bends with round nose pliers. And pay attention to do that just in front of each other. And now I'm going to put this stone in. Now it's fixed and it won't fall down at the backer part, and I'm doing the same in front part and making 2 bends onto the stone. Okay, here I'm going to wrap the extra part of that thinner wire all around one of those wire strands at the back part. I'm doing that for about 3 times and wrap it all around to fix it out. Now separate a pair of strands in front of you, just like this, these 2 pairs, I mean, and there is 3 wire strands at right and at left, and I'm going to bend those branches at right and left. And for the continuous, I invite you to watch the second part.